For the mayor and the soup. Mayor, you said earlier we look forward to having the safest summer in the history of Chicago. Last year, we had the most homicides in the city of Chicago as we've had in the last 20 years on record. How do you square those two
That's
things?
not accurate.
That's actually not accurate.
That's since 2016. It was lower than 2016. It's on 40.
The most, 2016 was lower.
No,
No,
sir.
no,
No,
you're
sir,
not.
not at all.
No, that's not correct, sir.
accurate.
Okay, can you
So,
speak?
look, we will all acknowledge we did not have the kind of summer that we wanted to have. The homicide and the shooting numbers were much higher. This is a phenomenon, unfortunately, that's happened all across the country. New York, LA, St. Louis, Atlanta, DC, every major city over this last pandemic year has seen a significant increase in violence. That's why we're looking at new approaches, new interventions, so that we can drive those numbers down.
Question for the superintendent. In the past, you've said that you're changing shifts around, you're extending hours for your officers and taking away some of the days off. Going into the summer, what kind of toll do you think that's going to take on your officers, and do you think you can sustain yourself through the summer given that pace that you've set?
We've had this conversation internally. I'm just going to share kind of how we've had this dialogue. It's for the officers that have to come to work. They're not scheduled to be off during the holidays. Do they have enough support? Do they have enough officers at work to ensure that they come to work in a safe manner? It is the age-old question, am I my brothers and sisters' keeper during the most violent times of the city? And the answer is a resounding yes, I am. That the sacrifices we have to make as law enforcement is to serve this community. Oftentimes that means very difficult decisions about canceling off days and extending tours. We don't do that lightly. But we want to ensure that our officers are safe as well as the communities are safe. That sometimes means bringing more officers in to work rather than fewer.
And a question is part of the safety approach for your officers a decision to move away from the open radio scanner system to a digital encrypted system that is going to be employed or might be employed? If so, explain the logic behind that and the timeline you might be using.
So I don't know what that means, but let me try to take a guess that, our radio systems are encrypted. We likely are doing more of encryption just so that we don't have scanners interrupting radio transmissions that might be a life safety or life-threatening communication that has to happen over the radio. I think the second part of your question is, as we go forward with the utilization of technology to help us do our job, the answer is yes. That as technology advances, we want to leverage technology to make sure we do the job in the safest manner possible.
Will the media be able to hear the scanner traffic, or will that be excluded?
So it's not necessarily what you hear, it's whether you can interrupt the radio transmissions. I want to make clear that being able to key a scanner and interrupt a radio transmission that might be a life-threatening communication is something that we have to ensure doesn't happen.
So the data that I was referencing earlier that you took issue with was about the months in the summer, June, July, and August. The homicide rates in the city of Chicago last summer were higher than any summer since 2000, as far back as the data goes that we were able to find.
Yeah, so there's statistics and then there's damn statistics. So you just parsed out 3 months.
Well, we're talking about summer here today.
Okay, let me answer. You ask and let me answer.
Please.
So the answer is last year was a violent year. One homicide is one too many, but it was lower than 2016's. That's still not satisfactory. Like, if one is one too many, any part of the year where we have increased violence is something that we have a sense of urgency around. And it's really, this whole of government approach is a response to it. It's not more law enforcement capacity, it's bringing more partners in to address some of the root causes of violence. If you just want to say, let's lock everybody up, we know from the 80s that didn't work, and it's not going to work. And so this whole of government approach is a long time coming. I'm excited about having partners outside of law enforcement able to really penetrate the root causes of violence.
So, Mayor, are you able to talk about that at all? I mean, last year's summer months, we're here today talking about summer. I don't mean to be isolating, but that is the topic on the table today. Last year's homicide numbers were the worst in 20 years. This summer, you're promising the safest summer in Chicago.
No, let's be clear. Okay, this isn't about playing gotcha. So let's be clear. Okay, We're talking about people's lives, so let's not trivialize it. Every single person here, every single person who cares about life in the city understands that we are facing challenges. The same challenges that residents and mayors and police chiefs all across the country are facing. Violence in our country has gone up, period. Everyone, everywhere is challenged. So what our goal is to make this summer safe. Can I sit here and promise you that that's what's going to happen at the end of the summer? No, of course not, and you know that. So don't characterize my words in any way that I didn't say. What I said is our goal is to have a very safe summer by using these exact techniques to try to do that. We will see what the future holds. But all of us, and you included if you live in the city, have some responsibility for summer safety. That's what I said. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Rolled out a big plan yesterday. Love to.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to talk about that, but we're here today to kind of talk about summer safety. We did roll out a plan. We're excited about it. I think it's a plan that makes some sense. But the bottom line here is two things. One is I think we all acknowledge the fact that it's way past time for this city to acknowledge our founder, DeSable and his wife, Kitty Hawa. Way past time. The question is, what is the best way for us to do that? One of the things that I'm concerned about as a student of history, and not somebody who is a native Chicagoan, but somebody who's been here for 30 plus years, we don't know our history here in this city. And worse, our children don't know our history. So what's important for us is when we're thinking about ways in which we acknowledge someone as important as our founder, is to make sure that we are ingraining into our schools, into our programs, ways in which we honor the history and teach people about our past. So our plan is number one, have permanent fixtures that honor DeSable and Kitty Hawa from DeSable Park in Lake Michigan all the way west to where the confluence, where the rivers come together, and to have year-round programming to draw not only tourists but Chicago residents to educate them about DeSable. That is the crux of the plan, and we'll talk more about it in the coming days. Thank you all.